Welcome to my latest project. This is upcycling an old rocking bench and putting a Shou Sugi Ban finish on the wood. This is what we started with. A lot of rust and rotted wood. You can see it wasn't in very good shape when we started, and a lot of the wood just kind of fell right off of the frame. There's a lot of loose paint, cracked paint. We kind of like the cracked paint finish, so we're going to keep some of that. And we don't like the wood slats thickness, so we're going to actually put some thicker or wider pieces of wood down. So this was the size of the original wood slats of the rotted wood, and we're going to have to keep the length the same, but the width we're going to make a lot wider. First step is to brush off all of the loose paint and then spray paint it with an anti-rust primer and paint. Do a few coats of that, and then we'll spray a Spar Urethane finish over the top of it to seal it in. Next step is to cut some pieces of Douglas fir down to the size we need for our project. The reason we're using Douglas fir is because it's somewhat durable and the bench is going to be outside. Also, it burns pretty nicely for the Shou Sugi Ban finish. Next, we're going to sand down the wood to the finish we want and find a nice safe place to burn it with the standard propane torch. This is what it looks like after the first layer. You want to try and do a pretty even burn depending on the finish that you want. And you're going to go over it several times and get a nice thick black layer around the surface, because you're going to sand down all of that to bring out the wood grain in a minute anyways. Notice it's difficult to get a real uniform burn if the wood isn't completely dry. You can use a nylon or metal wheel to grind off the excess charred ash on the surface, and it'll bring out a really nice, pretty wood grain. At this point, you can add a stain if you want to have a little extra color to it, or you can just seal it. I just used a Spar Urethane oil-based coat. The oil-based will give it a little bit of a warm tone. You could also use water-based. This is what it looked like after spraying it down with one coat of the Spar Urethane, and this is after the final coat. After letting the last coat completely dry, it's time to attach it to our metal frame. Make sure that you evenly space out the wood slats, and depending on how wide of the slats you actually use, it's going to be a little bit more or less important. We put it so there's very little space in between the wood slats. We used the pre-drilled holes in the metal frame and matched our new screws that we bought to look exactly like the ones that were on the original piece. This is what our final product looks like. And I went over the whole thing one last time with the Spar Urethane oil-based spray and covered both the metal and the wood with it, just for a little extra weatherproofing. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked my latest quarantine project, and you can check back for more videos later.